Slenderman. He's been a star in the creepy corners of the internet for years. Today, I'm going to be sharing some footage and supposedly true stories of people's first-hand encounters with the mysterious figure. Without further ado, let's just jump right in. I'm your host James, and these are the top 10 terrifying Slenderman sightings that are too real to ignore. And we're starting off this list with the UK Slenderman Sightings. So a few years back in Connaught, England, a string of supposed Slenderman sightings were reported within a very short span of time. There were 4 sightings in total, 3 of which happened within people's very own homes. One woman reported her sighting stating, "I was awoken just before 2 a.m. by an odd scratching noise in my bedroom. To my astonishment, there was what seemed to be a sphere-shaped shadow by the edge of my wardrobe. As I tried to get out of bed and investigate further, the shadow began to stretch towards the ceiling. It was at that point I found myself faced with the most disgusting and horrific creature imaginable. It was about 8 feet tall and had a white face with razor-sharp fangs." Another witness said he saw a Slenderman-like being at Castle Ring, an Iron Age hill fort that's been seen a good number of paranormal phenomena over the years. He stated, "While taking a midnight stroll around Castle Ring last Friday morning, I happened to notice a strange figure in the distance. It appeared to rise out of the trees and hover over the path around 100 meters in front of me. It was very dark, but I could see it clearly because of the lights. It was also a pretty clear night. If I were to compare it to anything, I would say it looked like a stereotypical Victorian gentleman. Long black overcoat with a Homburg hat. I know this was no flying human because it had blood red eyes that shone in the night sky. It also had a mouth full of teeth that seemed to look like razors. Whatever it was, it stopped hovering and descended back into the trees. Needless to say, I did not investigate any further." Next up, we have a Slenderman story posted to Reddit by user Simply Ross. It goes as follows. "When I was around 5 years old, I had a nightmare. The only reason why I remember after all these years, currently 15 years old, is because I kept on having the same dream. It would pick up where it left off. The first dream I had started with me in the woods, and I was just walking. Then I saw a tall figure in the distance, stared back at me. I remember thinking, why doesn't it have a face? He was also wearing black. He started walking towards me, and I freaked out. I then woke up. I had never seen or heard of Slenderman before. I mean, I was 5, I barely even knew what the internet was. When I was 8 or 9, I got into watching gamers on YouTube, and that was around the time Slender the 8 Pages got really popular. When I first watched a YouTuber play it, all I could think was, that's the guy from my dreams. At this point, I'd already had multiple dreams of this tall, faceless creature, so seeing him in the internet freaked me out. I continued to have these dreams that pick up where they left off, but not as frequently as I used to when I was younger. We'll be talking more about dreams later in the list, by the way. I got some interesting stuff to share about that. Alright, next up we have a creepy video clip shared to Reddit by user Marilefty1987. So in this short POV clip, we see someone riding through a forest in the middle of the night. It's hard to spot anything but trees whipping past at first as they're moving along at a good clip, but towards the end of the video, you see someone or something standing amongst the trees. Slow the clip down and you can easily spot it. They ride past what looks to be a very tall, faceless figure in a suit. Could it be Slenderman? Is it just a businessman taking a stroll through the forest in the middle of the night? Is it a hoax? Let me know what you think in the comments. All I know is if I saw that while riding my bike alone through the forest at 2 a.m., I'd probably swerve off the path and get pancaked into a tree. Or number 7, I actually saw a Slenderman. Next, we're going to look at a story shared to Reddit by user XX Forever Sleepless XX. It goes as follows. Well, about 3 months ago, I was in the forest by myself. I like to sketch nature, and I was walking past a pond, and all of a sudden, I saw some weird thing on the far side of the pond. It was tall and had a black suit and absolutely no face. I blinked, and it was still there. I thought it was my friend playing a joke on me. It wasn't. I called out and said, "Hey man, you scared the crap out of me." No reply, so I started walking away. Here's where the phone comes in. It starts following me through the forest, and it's getting closer. I start to run as fast as I can, and it's still following me at an alarming rate. So I go to take out my phone to call 911, and it's dead. I charged it before I went out. I had only been out for 1 hour. That's it. Since then, I've been seeing it more and more. Also, I can't stop drawing it. I'm getting paranoid. I'm on anti-anxiety and antipsychotic meds. I don't know what's going on, and I really need help. Now, this user hasn't posted in like 10 years, so I really hope they are okay. At our number 6 spot, we have some Slenderman footage for you. Nothing like a nice short creepy piece of found footage to keep you up at night. This was shared to YouTube by Noel Hutchinson, and it's just very well done. The start of the video claims that this footage was found on a memory card he picked up at a secondhand store. The footage begins, and it's a POV video of a camera person walking through a dark tunnel, using what looks to be a thermal filter. Then out of nowhere, the camera goes all haywire, the filter is gone, and out of the shadow steps our boy, the tall and spindly, faceless Slenderman. Not something you'd want to come face to face with while exploring a dirty old dark tunnel. At number 5, we have Slenderman climbing a building. Now, I don't even know if this is supposed to be Slenderman, to be honest, but whatever it is, I hate it. I don't want to live in a world where this exists, and obviously it doesn't. I don't think anyone's looking at this thinking it's real, but it is a really good video. Obviously the creature is horrifying, but it's the way it moves that really sells it. It's so unnatural. You can't tell where it's gonna go. You can't really make sense of what are arms and what are legs. It's very spiderish. And we all know how freaked out most people are by spiders. I think that's part of what makes Slenderman stick in people's brains so much. It's those elongated limbs. At number 4, we have the Slenderman bike video. This next clip was shared to YouTube by Gamers Revenge UK. The video starts out with our host talking about his bike, says he's going to show it off before riding off down the road. We get this wide view of a large open field behind him with a handful of trees in the distance, and as the man rides out of frame, from these trees in the background we see a tall, dark, thin figure trudge out into the clearing. Then the man rides back to the camera, and that's when Slenderman, just walking silently in the background, stops and seems to be staring right at the man, who is completely oblivious to what's going on behind him. I think what really sells this video is the environment. It's a gloomy, overcast day, like most days in the UK, but it's the perfect atmosphere for a creepy Slenderman video. I love how quiet the whole thing is too. Very good ambiance. At number 3, we have the encounter in the woods. This is yet another tale posted to Reddit a couple years back by a now deleted user. They wrote the following: "Something really creepy happened to me last night, and I can't shake it off. I was taking a peaceful walk in the woods near my house, enjoying the tranquility, when I saw a tall, shadowy figure in the distance. At first I thought it was just another hiker, but as I got closer I noticed something off. It was incredibly tall, with unnaturally elongated limbs. It seemed to be wearing a dark suit. I tried to brush it off as a trick of the light, but then it vanished behind a tree without a sound. I felt this overwhelming sense of dread, like I was being observed. I hurried back home, but all night I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. I've heard about Slenderman, and while I don't want to jump to conclusions, this felt different from any normal encounter. Has anyone else experienced something like this? I can't find any logical explanation, and I'm genuinely concerned. Any advice or insights would be greatly appreciated." Next, I want to discuss sleep paralysis figures, the shadowy illusions some people see during the experience. I've had sleep paralysis a number of times, talked about it on here before. I've never seen your classic tall, lanky shadow person myself, but a lot of folks report that exact experience. Interestingly, these shadow figures bear a striking resemblance to the infamous Slenderman. Could it be that these shadowy figures during sleep paralysis are the inspiration behind Slenderman? Definitely possible. What if these unsettling visions weren't just products of our imagination though, but something more? Could these sleep paralysis shadow figures be Slenderman's attempt to manifest himself in the real world? Perhaps the thin line between dreams and reality blurs, allowing these shadowy entities to seep into our waking world. And during this phenomena, we're actually glimpsing into a dark realm where horrific creatures like Slenderman dwell. Alright, we got some more footage for you finally. This clip was captured in the outskirts of Nuevo Laredo City in Mexico. A rancher heard strange noises on his roof, and when he went out to investigate, this is what he came across. Yeah, a naked naked humanoid, I guess. Hard to really describe this thing, but when the video came out a few years back, everyone was like, that looks like Slenderman. It has thin, very long limbs, it's hairless, you can't make out any facial features, it's just not wearing a suit. Or anything, for that matter. Anyway, luckily it ran away instead of attacking. You don't see where it went though, because the video cuts out, which, I mean, fair enough. Why the hell would you keep filming if you saw that on your roof? I'd be right out of there. As Slendermanish as this creature looks, there are more people who say this looks like an alien of some kind though, which I'd have to agree with, especially because this is in Mexico, which is a hotbed for alien sightings. Could also be a hoax, but if it is, it's a very good one. That is a freaky looking mother right there. With all that said, I've been your host James, and I'll catch you, yes you specifically, in the next video.